All right, Warriors unfortunately lose this one on the road, as kind of to be expected here against the Dallas Mavericks. Entering sort of the midpoint of this road trip, they go to LA to play the Lakers next, but a little Texas stint's over. So Warriors do lose 99-109. No Steph, of course. No Draymond, so that's pretty big. You're probably your two best players on either side of the floor out, unless you count Wiggins. That's why I said, maybe. But out both Steph and Draymond, that's pretty huge. Obviously, I mean, that's 30 points, and the offense is just not even remotely the same without him. The defense is just not the same, on top of the, constant pushing of the pace with Draymond, as well as his connection to the other guys and getting offensive players going. So missing those two, that's huge. Draymond was there. He was on the bench. He tried to play tonight, but he had something, I think, with his back, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it like a tight back, something like that. But he didn't play. So the Warriors went into this one against a fully healthy Mavericks team. Difficult task, man. Like we've talked about him on the podcast, Dallas made some pretty solid upgrades at the trade deadline. I know they're 5-5 heading into this game in their last 10, but they are on a 3-game win streak, now 4. And they're playing great basketball. Luka's been on an absolute tear. He's, as you're going to see in the podcast coming up soon, we think he's a dark horse MVP candidate. He's the record is probably the only reason that he wouldn't win. But if he gets up into the 6th seed, maybe even 5th, if the Mavericks just absolutely go out on a tear, he's playing well enough to where he could probably sneak in and win that thing. So Luka's playing great ball. Kyrie's been playing solid. Obviously, again, PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, the two premier additions they made to this team. Daniel Gafford's one of the better bigs in this league. Very underrated player. Fantastic roller. Great dunker. Close to breaking Wilt Chamberlain's consecutive field goals made record of 34. I think he's now at 31. So very, very close. Likely going to break it next in the next game for the Mavericks. And then PJ Washington, stretch 4 coming from the Hornets, also able to kind of slash, and they're trying to get him to play a little bit of defense here, being the lanky wing that he is. So they're a good squad, man. They're a good squad, coached well. The Warriors had a tough task playing them in general, but especially undermanned. So it was going to be kind of a grind fest. That's why in the last video I made that I said I wasn't anticipating a win. All I want to see is effort. And that's what happened tonight. They played with incredible effort. The offense was absolutely non-existent for the Warriors. Non-existent on both sides, really, but specifically for the Warriors, who in general feel kind of like a one-dimensional team at times. Obviously, they shoot the ball. But they haven't had the amount of rim pressure that you'd want having slashers on this roster. Obviously, Andrew Wiggins has missed some time. Jonathan Kuminga is trying to find his footing. Gary Payton II, he's missed a lot of time. There's just a lot of guys on this roster that you'd hope would really expand and make everybody kind of invert the floor a little bit better. Trayce obviously playing more now, but it hasn't quite happened to the level that we want. Hopefully it improves, but when the shooting's out, you got to lean on something else offensively, and they definitely don't have the mid-range game. So you hope that they can kind of break the paint, and they've been inconsistent to say the least at doing that. Even though I think in February they led the league in paint in points in the paint. Could be I could be wrong, but I think they were either leading or right up there. So, but yeah, they got crushed in that regard. No offense. They couldn't make a shot. 9 of 28 from the field, or from 3, 32%. They shot 40% from the field in general. Again, I want to mention, it was a clunk fest on both ends. The Mavericks did shoot 53% from the field in general, but they only shot 6 of 27, 22% from 3. And you'll see why they ended up with such a high field goal percentage despite not shooting well, even though they truck one of the highest 3-point attempts per game in the league. The points in the paint, man, absolutely slaughtered the Warriors there, 48-68 in favor of the Dallas Mavericks. On top of that, the fast break points, 8 in favor, or 8-22 in favor of the Dallas Mavericks. not a good thing. The Warriors did have 15 turnovers, which is not horrendous for the Warriors. Like, that's kind of the mark you want to stay at or under. They did force 16 turnovers, so it wasn't like, well, we just gave the game away. But 15 turnovers is still a lot in a game where, again, you just don't have much offense. So not really what you want to see in a game like this. They also limited the free throws for the Mavericks, who only took 19, the same amount as the Warriors, and the Warriors actually shot a little bit better from the free throw line, 16 of 19 to the Mavericks, 15 of 19. But yeah, Dallas got whatever they wanted in the paint, which I want to say why that was, because it was actually for a reason this time. It wasn't just like, no one's playing defense. The Warriors were absolutely stellar in their perimeter defense as far as closing out to shooters, forcing the extra pass, and really getting in guys' grills. They held Luka Doncic, who in the last 10 games is averaging 36 points and 11 assists. They held him to 21 points, 3 boards, 9 assists on 39% shooting from the field, 16% from 3, and forced him into 6 turnovers. They played incredible defense on him. Blocked a couple of his shots as well, poking the ball free, forcing him into bad passes. Like, they played stellar defense on Luka. And Kyrie, to his credit, we all, as Warriors fans, we all know how good Kyrie is, obviously. 2016 is probably PTSD for most Warriors fans. 23 points for Kyrie, 8 boards, 10 assists. He answered the bell, shooting 8 of 16 from the field, also kind of closed the game out a little bit there. But they held him to 1 of 5 shooting from the 3 as well. Now, he was 6 of 6 from the line, but I thought the Warriors did a good job at holding down Luka a little bit and forcing Kyrie to be the guy that needs to get all the scoring done. Obviously, Kyrie in this offense sort of takes a backseat to Luka, who, of course, leads the league in usage rate. So it is Luka's team, and putting Kyrie back in a situation where you got to go do it. I'm okay with that. I thought the Warriors did pretty well, but Kyrie is Kyrie, and he's going to hit really fucking tough shots. So that's what happened. But again, the perimeter defense was spectacular. Like, for example, the Warriors had 9 steals. 4 of them came from Brandin Podziemski, who was everywhere, causing havoc, doing a great job there. GP2 was poking stuff. Moses Moody blocked Luka's shot, and I think took the cookies from Kyrie Irving. Like, did a great job, man. They did a great job at blocking, stealing, forcing pickups, forcing Luka into pickups, getting guys to have to drive, and then funneling them into the paint, forcing turnovers there. Trayce Jackson-Davis had another block. Like, they played spectacular defense tonight, which was shocking given that Draymond was out. I was expecting Dallas to just get anything they wanted anywhere, but that wasn't what happened. The Warriors played great perimeter defense, so that was a huge plus. That's something you want to see moving forward. Obviously, the points in the paint would indicate that, well, if the guy didn't shoot the ball, then he was going to the rim and getting, maybe not easy money, but they were scoring down low. And the reason for that is obviously Dallas has quite the duo at center there with Daniel Gafford, again, one of the best rollers in the league, and Derek Lively, one of the better rollers in the league already as a rookie. 2 7-footers, 2 guys with elite wingspan that can just jump higher than you. The tallest center on the Warriors is Trayce Jackson-Davis at 6'9", or actually it's technically Dario Saric, and let's just not even count him. But Trayce, as far as defensive center, 6'9", going against 2'7". I mean, that's a lot to deal with. And in all fairness, Trayce again blocked Derek Lively on a dunk attempt. Like, Trayce still tried to hold his own, and as I've talked about before with him, he's very in tune with being a help defender. However, he can kind of overhelp. So some of the points in the paint, I don't know the exact amount, but I'd like to see those numbers if they're available anywhere. But Trayce was altering shots, forcing guys to make the pass on players driving, on players off of kicks and stuff like that, doing a great job at forcing them to make the extra pass. But similar with Draymond, if Trayce leaves the paint to go help out and make the right play to stop someone, no one was there to back him up. So that was quite an issue for the Warriors. They weren't really able to recover from that, and the points in the paint killed them there. As well as transition defense, a lot of mistakes there and in fast break. just getting shots at the rim. The Warriors didn't really have anything to stop him. A lot of easy buckets there, little pin downs coming down the court. It was just they weren't doing anything against it. So that was tough. But overall, I am proud of that defense the Warriors played. Ton of effort. Not mad at that whatsoever. Next, Jonathan Kuminga. Now, Jonathan Kuminga was a bright spot in this game, and as you guys know, I'm pretty critical of Kuminga. Not in a bad way, but because, you need to be a good player here. It's time for him to really step up and be that guy. And he's young. We know there are going to be mistakes, and I'm fine with that, but I want to see the improvement. And tonight, I was extremely happy with Jonathan Kuminga's performance, even though he had 6 turnovers himself. I really liked his performance. I thought, especially in the first quarter, that's the most of a presence I've felt from Jonathan Kuminga as a scorer since he's been on the Warriors. I genuinely went into that game thinking, man, Jonathan he's getting whatever he wants. He looks like he's the guy. He looks like he's the scorer. Typically, Jonathan, again, it's like straight line drives, post ups. If he has a smaller guy, he might be able to spin off, and his verticality overpowers most guys. But you don't feel him on the floor, if that makes sense. At least I don't. I'm typically when he's out there, 20 points, cool, but I'm still But tonight he had 27, and every single time he was on the floor offensively, it felt like he was really out there doing stuff and really out there making his presence felt. Like I said, finished with 27 points, 8 of 17 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3, 9 of 10 from the free throw line, which was huge. And it wasn't just him flailing. He was actually trying to finish through some contact there, which is what I like to see. Be aggressive, be strong at the rim. Don't try to do the Joel Embiid thing and just flail out and hope for the best. Try to score through the contact. You're going to get contact regardless. You're too athletically gifted. You're going to end up getting contact, finish through it. And I thought he was doing a better job at that. Also had 4 boards, 2 assists. Again, 6 turnovers. A few of them were off of his foot, just dribbling it off of himself. A couple bad passes that he was trying to sneak through. Again, I talked about in the last one. Kuminga, it always feels like he's a step behind in terms of his reads if he's not trying to score. So that's just something that, again, over time, you hope improves. But right now, that does seem to be a problem for him. But again, overall, really proud of his defense. I thought of his overall game. Thought he played some solid defense too. Kyrie kind of worked him a little bit, but Jonathan's an aggressive defender. Kyrie plays with all that finesse. That's not a good matchup for him, in my opinion. So, yeah, but good work for Jonathan. Next up, Brandin Podziemski. I thought Pods played spectacular. 11 points for him, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals. Did make a couple threes, was 4 of 12 from the field. I will say this, my only criticism really of Pods is as someone with the vertical that he has, his instincts around the rim as a finisher, he's good at not taking shots in the half court sets where it's okay, this might get blocked. I'm not going to put that up unless obviously the clock's running down and I have to. But in transition, Pods is almost like Moody, and they're both just regardless of what happens, I'm throwing that thing up there. And there's a level to which I understand that of if I pass this, we might not get a shot, so I'm going to take the layup and hopefully get fouled at the very least, right? But it feels like every time Podziemski goes up, unless it's only one defender, and maybe he's on the opposite side, obviously Pods is a lefty, any other scenario, it feels like he's getting swatted, and it's very predictable. It's a predictable layup. There's not much altering to the shot, even though we know he has good footwork, and we know he's able to take a plethora of style of layups. That will be my only real criticism of him. Obviously, the free throwing has been a little bit subpar for what you'd expect from from what was a great scorer in college, but I thought he played great. I loved his ball pressure as well. He played fantastic defense tonight. It's a tough cover against the Mavericks because, again, you're going to get switched on the Luka a couple times. You're going to have to deal with Kyrie. You're going to have to deal with Tim Hardaway Jr. a little bit. probably going to have to go on to Dante Exum, who's shot the ball well for one, but also he's still a pretty solid driver, and he's a bigger guard, so that's a bit of a tough matchup. But I really like Podziemski's game overall. I thought he played very well. And last but not least, Trayce. He's kind of been the talk of the town as far as the Warriors go these last like week or so. And again, he had another fantastic game tonight. You're a little limited. The Warriors had to exert a lot of their depth tonight prior to garbage time. Dario played about 7.5 minutes. Kevon Looney played 17 minutes. They had to get their bigs in there, and because Draymond was out. Obviously, Dario is just a non-factor at this point with this team, which is sad to say, but that's kind of the reality, is he's not really giving you anything anywhere. Kevon is a little bit limited. We know that he's a good player. He's a smart player. He had a couple good defensive possessions against Luka, was able to get a couple stops against the bigs. Like, he's still a decent basketball player, a solid backup center. Nothing wrong there. But as far as like getting someone to deal with big time 7-footers, even though we see Draymond hold his own or Trayce hold his own, the Warriors just don't really have the personnel to deal with that. And so Trayce, even though he played well, he blocked a shot, he had 9 rebounds, 6 of which were offensive. He just wasn't able to impact the game to the level we've seen against other teams. Even against San Antonio, Trayce was everywhere, absolutely everywhere, blocking shots, dunking everything. Obviously the poster on Wemby, rebounding the hell out of the ball. Like, he was just doing everything to impact the game that was possible. But in a game like this, where you've got bigger guards, stronger guards, a lot of lanky wings, and 2 7-footers with absolutely insane verticals, just a tough matchup for Trayce. But like I said, 10 points, 9 boards, and assist. Also had that block. Not too bad a game for him. Not too bad a game. And I hope to see him continue to play. He got the start over Draymond because Draymond was out, so that was also nice. With that being said, the Warriors do go on to play the Lakers next up. They get 2 days off. It's expected that Steph should be back for this game, so that's huge. Hopefully Draymond is also available for this game. I imagine he would be. That's a huge one. Again, you lost this game to Dallas. Like I said, I anticipated this. However, it is still a loss, and the West is still tight. However, the Lakers are also getting smacked by the Kings right now in Sacramento, so both of them might lose. The Warriors are down a game in the standings. It's sitting at the 10th seed, so that game against the Lakers is going to be pretty big. And hopefully the Warriors are able to pull it out, so there will be a video when that comes. Dominic and I did record today, like I said, so look out for uploads from there coming in the next day or so. And if you liked the video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Warriors fans, let me know how you feel. Mavericks fans, if you're here, let me know how you feel. Good game to you guys. Have a good rest of your Wednesday, and I will see you guys after that Lakers game. Peace.